Don't miss some of the best looking lady miniatures out there.
Spiky bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Baer from SpikyBits.com, and I would like to show you some Raging Heroes models. Now, I'm sure you've already heard about these folks from their myriad of Kickstarters through the years, and I'm sure they'll have some more. They have a bunch of lines at this point of miniatures, not just lady miniatures, but the lady miniatures they do have. And we'll probably showcase the majority of what we have here over probably like 2 different videos because it's a lot of material. I don't want to give it its due diligence because it's the first time we've had them here on the channel. Now, they sent us a bunch to showcase with y'all. And I have no problem doing that because I've actually been using Raging Hero stuff for a few years, about 8, give or take, since they first came out. I think about 7 or 8 years, but it's definitely been a while. And at that time, their stuff was even more amazing than it is today because their sculpts were, in some regards, ahead of Games Workshop's when it comes to units, and then also they have a lot of critters for chaos, demons, and things like that. And it was really cool to have kind of variety. Now, you know, in 2019, the climate's a little different about third-party miniatures and what you can play on stream and all that weird stuff. And well, we're not going to get into all that right now because, as it turns out, all ships rise with the tide. If GW's doing good, all of these other companies are going to be doing just as good underneath them and rising up as people buy their miniatures to either use in game or just to paint in general. And I feel like Raging Heroes definitely has a great amount of miniatures and a very large variety of them to choose from. And I'm going to showcase some of them today, but let's jump over to their site. I'll kind of show you exactly what all they have to offer, and then we'll jump into some of the specific miniatures and some of them that we're going to build today for you all as well. So while I got you here real quick, let's talk about their website, ragingheroes.com. It's much larger than what it looks like. I just kind of slid it over here to have my stupid face here instead of, you know, a little bit somewhere else on this. What you can't see is that they have a tab all the way over to your left and my right in this picture that shows whether they have like an active Kickstarter. You can also go into their shop, which we were just at, and you can see the myriad of different ranges. They also have army packs, which you can save a lot of money on. A lot of times they have sales going on. Imagine if I hit refresh on this, it would pop up with a special offer that they'll put in a cart if you buy a certain amount of miniatures. Sometimes hey, you can get this mini for like $5 or whatever if you order this much stuff. So, you know, if you're really into picking stuff up and you're always on the fence, oh, do I really need this? You want to pop over here. Sometimes there just might be something to tickle your hobby pickle, so to speak, and boom, there it is. Now, they also, like I was saying, have, besides a bunch of ranges, you can see they actually have a January sale going on in this picture. I'm not sure when this video will go out, but check back. They have sales quite frequently. We feature them a lot of times. They're new releases on the site. One thing that I always like to check when we're, you know, showcasing companies and giving y'all our opinion on them is how much do they charge in their local currency. And that's been a hot button issue with things like Games Workshop and stuff, and where you might not actually be paying a true conversion rate or as close with, you know, a few fees here and there, because let's face it, money doesn't change hands for free these days. That's just the way the world works. But if you notice, and they've got a lot of different ranges here. They got like the Kurganovas, which are kind of like Eastern European kind of guard type thing. They got Iron Empire, which are more like crazy, like super serious, cybernetic in some cases. And we're going to talk about some of these in one of the videos. And then they've got like the Jailbirds, which are kind of steampunky. So there is something for everybody here when it comes to miniatures. And they even got the Chaotic line, but they're more geared towards lady miniatures, which I think in a lot of cases they have some of the most classiest looking lady miniatures out there. Now, that being said, you know, there's always going to be the eternal debate about boob armor. Yeah, I said it, boob armor. It's a thing. People want to talk about it. I think their sculpts are great, personally, and I've been using their stuff for a number of years, like I said. But let's check out some of their pricing. Like, so here's just your basic box of troopers here. I think this is a 5-pack, the jailbirds. You can see here it's 1995 euros. Now if you convert that over with their little handy dandy, and they've got pricing in Australian, Canadian dollars, Great Britain pounds. You can't see it above my head right there because it's a pop-up and I might not record, but I'm going to convert it to US dollars, for instance, 2268, which I feel like is a really good conversion, a very fair conversion based off of what we know of some other companies that do when it comes to conversion. So there you go. And then they show you the sculpts, they show you the miniatures, everything that comes in here. We're going to show you some of these today as well, and you can click on it, you can make it bigger, and you can scroll through their site at your leisure ad nauseum. It's ragingheroes.com. I'm sure you'll probably see some of the stuff popping up in your social medias from time to time as well. So here's some of the models we're going to take a look at, and we're not going to get through all of them, but I just wanted to give you a quick brief overview. So things like, you know, the Sisters Command, and they have Sisters troops here as well that have, they can switch between these helmets and these bear faces here. Comes with a ton of different parts, and we're going to open this up and kind of take a look. You know, you're talking $35 for something like this. Some of these bigger resin-y kits that are like standout figures, you're talking $25. So for the sculpts, okay, seems good. Some of these single figures that might be like one-off, sergeant level, character level, $17 US. And you know, you got to pay shipping and things like that. So as far as pricing goes, I feel like they're on par with everybody else out there that we've kind of reviewed as far as that goes. But way under what people like Games Workshop charge. You know, when you walk into Games Workshop and $35 for a single clan pack, you know, take a look at some of these sculpts, compare it to what you know, and look at the pricing, and hey, make your own determination. So let's jump into unboxing some of these, and I think we're actually going to put one of these units together as well to kind of show you how it all goes together and give you some of our thoughts on some of this new material. Haven't used some of the new material yet that they've been using in the past few years, so I definitely want to check some of that out too. So first thing I want to show you is how these come packaged right here, which I'm genuinely impressed with. So you got a sleeve here, and inside the sleeve is the double-sided miniature kind of type deal. So they probably print these on the cheap, and you know, they just kind of flip it around for whichever one they need, which I think is a really good idea. The boxes are pretty standard, you know, nice little out-of-boxing experience. It comes with a little card that actually says thank you for the purchase, and I can't tell you, I can count on one hand how many miniature companies come with a thank you for buying their miniature inside the actual kit itself. Important, how to wash or how to clean resin, and how to prime resin, which is kind of an unsung thing that people don't consider. There's actually it's well, you have to clean it, and to prime it sometimes it gets a little hairy, but we're not going to get into that. We've shown you how to clean stuff here on the channel, and we're actually have a tutorial on how to work with resin as well here in the near future. Maybe we could revisit that sometime in the future. So this is going to come bubble wrapped. You're going to have all your bases, and then the miniatures themselves are packed inside of little baggies. So if you get something broken, I feel like you'll know it as soon as you get the package, because the package will be destroyed, but I feel like the stuff inside will be just fine. So once we get one of these ladies open here, you can see that it's going to come on kind of a resin injected sprue that is a little atypical to what you guys would expect from something like a plastic multi-part kit from Games Workshop. It almost looks like they're casting these on a wheel, and it's coming through the centrifuge and kind of filling in there. So it's a little bit different resin technology than what you may be used to or have already worked with in an appearance, so to speak. Now, that being said, the material is also probably a little bit different, but it still holds detail very well. As you can see, a very ornate backpack right there. But it isn't that, I want to say, more mainstream kind of resin that is what you would expect from somebody that we have showcased here on the past. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just you're going to have to be a little bit more careful and probably slow down and take your time a little bit more, as this material tends to be a little bit more brittle. But it still holds detail for the most part pretty well. And I've never had any issues, but I've never really worked with this material from them. So it's going to be interesting to kind of cut it off and get it glued together. So a couple of different head options here, sword or gun, different poses. It looks like kind of different left or right tilt to the trooper itself. So this is cool. Like, it gives you a couple different options, and that's something that we don't normally see. You get this dude, and it's posed this way, and that's all you get, which is neat. But I'm definitely gonna have to be very careful with this material, as I can already tell it's a little bit more brittle than what we're mostly used to working with, or you perhaps might be used to working with yourself. All right, so we spent a little bit of time. We got this model together. Like I said, it was a little challenging. It's a little bit more brittle than what I would, what I'm used to, I guess, is kind of my point I'm trying to make. Is if you get these models, you're gonna have to treat them a little bit differently. But they do give you the guide and everything here, so I feel like they're kind of trying to educate people on the material itself. In some cases, there might be different colored components and stuff just from the resin casting process with the color casting sort of things. But I mean, it goes together well. They are smaller miniatures. This is a 25 mil base. This is, how they compare to something like a Dirty Xenos Eldar. So they're about the size that you would expect from a lady miniature. And we're going to show you, actually, it's not part of this review. It's something I've already painted in the past that is comparable to what you would expect from a demon print, so to speak. So overall, I think the detail is crisp. The designs are nice. They're always showing the freshest of sculpts off on their website and things like that. But just be aware that when you get this material, it is just a slight bit different than what you may be used to, and you need to treat it accordingly. Now, along those same lines of thought, here is one of their characters. I forget what this one's called. Nefreya, the Necro Priestess. But you can see here, this is very atypical to what you might be used to using. So just be aware that you're going to have to use a lot of hobby skill here, and you're going to have to be very careful with your clippers. You're going to want to use flush cutters to get in here and trim this stuff down. But look at the detail. The detail is gorgeous, and it's very crisp. And there's a lot of it in very, very small dimensions. I mean, we're talking, these miniatures are 25 mil, but they're very small. And then here's all the Doc Arc arms and everything. I mean, just look at the gorgeous detail. So design-wise, awesome. Sculpt, awesome. Material, you're going to have to be very careful with it. Price point, great. Shipping times, about average from Europe, right? Unless you can find this stuff here in the States. And that's always an option for you too. So that kind of gives you an idea. And then there's the very last miniature here that, let's just show you one of these out of a blister pack real quick. So this is one of their newer sculpts, and there's a little pistol right in there, and I'm not gonna pull it out for fear of losing it. But I mean, again, detail-wise, incredible, right? So this, I think, is one of their newer sculpts here. And you can tell, like, this is what I emphasize. Companies get better over time. This is definitely a better resin material here. This is their one-off. This is like a $17 model. And sometimes they cast in white metal too. So just read everything on their site and take a look. Like, this material is definitely the better of the material we've seen today. And as such, it didn't need as many channels right there, but you still are going to have to be very careful. And it comes with a couple different options. You got the lady, let's see, so she's got her mask or head right here with hair. So I mean, gorgeous, just a ton of detail on this miniature, and it's for $17. I mean, you just, price point, great, amazing stuff when it comes to that. And let me show you one more miniature, a little blast from the Spiky Bits past. So this is, I believe, it's called the Lord of Gluttony, and he is on a 60 mil base right here. So this guy was a great alternate to Khorne Demon Princes Nurgle Demon Princes back in the day. So I scooped him up and painted him up, and had a blast with him. Got a lot better at airbrushing since then, obviously, them greens, right? But this just goes to show you this material is more on par with what I just showed you than some of the other stuff right there, and it's all magnetized. So they've got really good sculpts when it comes to the demons and such, and room for magnets. And this is a company that was doing this 8 years ago. So think about that. Their commitment to excellence and quality seems to definitely be there. But just remember, the material might be a little bit challenging if you're not used to working with it right there. So I think overall, Raging Heroes is definitely worth your hobby dollar. So make sure you check them out over on ragingheroes.com. And we'll do another video here shortly on some of their slightly larger and more of the troop box, different varieties type of things, just to give you an idea of the variety of miniatures that are over there. We didn't really get a whole lot of the fantasy type stuff, but I think with a lot of the Chaos and the Slaanesh coming out now, that might be something we definitely want to take a look at here in the future if they'll send it to us. So there you go. So I appreciate you watching these videos. Thank you very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.